Why yes, I'd love to convert a 10-minute task into a 3-day project. Alrighty lads. This has been a chuckle in my team and I think enough time has passed for me to finally post it. TLDR at the bottom. I work in the events department for a large company. Projectors, microphones, computers, etc. If it's required for an event, then we handle it and it probably passes through my workflow for helping to organize. My department also handles catering for events while it's not my team specifically. We work side by side. The associate director runs the catering and event coordinators. My manager only runs the AV side and doesn't report to the associate director. Don't ask, it's a messed up org chart that nobody can make sense of. Despite not being specifically part of my job description, I also do the technical side of getting new staff members online within our system, getting their staff account created and also getting Teams and OneDrive online on their mobile so they can see all their paperwork. And the reason why I am happy to do this is because with the catering team being a revolving door of staff, normal in my industry, getting them online needs to be done immediately and fast. You can go to the greater IT team to do this, but you can be waiting days for them to get it done. Whereas I can do it within 5 to 10 minutes with them. And staff that aren't online on our system can't work. H&S forms are part of this setup. Therefore they wouldn't be able to complete the assigned shift. And IT won't touch the request until they show up for their first shift. At which point you'd then wait days for them to get onto it. See the flawed logic here? Note: setting up a new account also involves setting up their personal work email, group email ACESS, system permissions access, and to a limited extent, their access card swipe permissions. Normally this would be done by the security team. But 10 years at a company really comes with its perks of being connected to the right people, and when you want to get something like this done fast, it's often easier for one person with permissions to do it as opposed to multiple people in their own workflows. Second note: if you're asking why a rotating door of catering staff need personal work email and group work email, this account setup is supposed to encompass more than just them. Alright, enough setup. Onto the story. Recently, my boss has thrown another bout of trying to micromanage the hell out of my team. We all hate it, but I guess we can just ride this wave out again. The associate director asked me to go to one of our other offices on the other side of the city to set up a group of new staff in one large batch order. My own manager looked at the request, got one of those time for some micromanagement shenanigans faces. Me: hey boss, associate director wants me to go to the other office to set up some new staff in the system next week on Friday. Boss: nope. I need you here in case something happens up. Very busy day on that day. Me: there's nothing on the roster for that day and I'd still be available remotely. Boss: just write the associate director a document about how to get people set up in the system and he can do it himself. Me: are you sure? I do it fast because I'm trained on the system and he doesn't. Including travel, I'd only be gone for about 34 hours. Writing the document on how to get someone set up in the system would take much longer. Boss: write the document and put everything he needs to know in it. It only needs to be, what, half a page? Can't be that hard. Everything? Alright. Cue malicious compliance. /. What my boss expected was a half-page instruction manual on getting a new account created within the system. I don't think I could have kept it that short even if I tried. What followed was a 3-day project writing out the instruction manual for how to get someone set up in the system, which comprised of 34 pages, not half a page. Large portions of it are troubleshooting steps, accounting for different models of phones and likely fixes when they do weird things. iPhones are great because they work. The infinite variations of Android phones can sometimes throw up strange errors either on the system or within the phone itself. Most of the information in here was collective knowledge I've built up over the years, as well as who else to phone in IT for the most outrageous issues that had to be resolved that I didn't have permissions for and who could generally do it immediately. I warned the associate director that this was going to be a very large technical manual and he should probably read it before heading to the other office. AD, isn't it half a page? Quote, me. My boss said to put everything in it. AD, oh no. What followed was the associate director attempting to take somewhere between 10 to 20 people through this very technically written manual about getting someone set up in the system. To anyone not technically inclined, it could have all been in a different language for all they could understand it. After 30 minutes, he called me, put me on speakerphone plus camera to the new staff and said, just do it. Sitting at my computer, I spent the next 40 minutes getting everyone online. Technical support over a phone can be straining. You all know what I mean. And they were fine to start their shifts. Finally, the associate director asks me something in private afterwards. AD, op, did it need to be this complicated? Quote, me. Actually, I summarized some sections to make it easier. Didn't want to make it difficult for you, wasn't the intention. But my boss told me to write down everything, so I did. Add. Good to know. Thanks. / Following the weekend, I was notified that when I was requested to go get a new staff member set up, I should find a time that I am available and go do it, irrespective of other tasks. Not sure what happened up top, but I think my boss got a very heavy smack for it. TLDR. The associate director of my department asks me to get new staff online at a different office. My boss says I can't go, because it would waste too much time, and instead instructs me to write a document about how to do it. In the event, this 34-hour task, including travel, turns into 3.5 days wasted writing a technical document nobody wants to read. Edit. Fixed some minor grammar errors and added clarification for what setting up a new account actually entails, because it's not just Teams and OneDrive. Actually, having that 34-page manual full of institutional knowledge is great. Can be a playbook for any new technical people that come around. Wish every job has one. Just because you're not one of their reports doesn't mean a higher level position can't or won't make your life hell. Has your boss been less micromanagey since? Well, at least they got some documentation out of it. I love how bosses seem to always assume your job is simple and easy. Half a page, alright. Oh yeah, work harder not smarter. The Peter Principle in action. It's easy to overlook writing a manual for anyone who hasn't written one. Well done. Malicious compliance that ends with a SOP is honestly a win-win situation. When you leave the job, you can always give the manual you wrote to your manager as a parting gift. And tell them, no, I'm not going to stick around long enough to train my replacement. Open mouth face, flushed face with rolling eyes, grimace, upside down face. If you had wanted to be nice, I'd include a 1-page, rapid shorthand setup, and then the 34-page, everything, manual after it. Getting Teams and OneDrive online on their mobile 34-page manual, WTF, seriously. Documentation is the start of automation. You have been invited to our technical writing. And that is why there are technical writers who create playbooks and manuals for departments. Great job. By the way, If you know a tech writer, they might be able to help you get it to flow a bit better and maybe simplify the more techie areas. Recently, my boss has through another bot of trying to micromanage the hell out of my team. What? That comment about iPhones versus Androids is interesting to me because, as someone who worked IT for my university when I was a CS student, I had the exact opposite experience with Apple versus MS or Android. It was spectacularly simple to get things set up on a Windows machine or an Android phone, but when it came to Macs or iPhones, it always took at least 15 minutes longer to do the exact same process. This manual is your bus protection document. You're impossible to remove until someone can follow it from beginning to end. Since you're here, they're likely not concerned. The moment they start to hire for it, brush up that resume. This story has, and then he got hit by a bus and the whole company was paralyzed for 6 months. Written all over it. This is one of the prime examples that people don't understand, that just cause a task can be done in 5 minutes, it doesn't mean there's no complexity behind it. A great lawyer may charge high price just for 510 minutes of his time, but whatever he says will be backed by years of experience. A doctor too may provide exact diagnosis within a few minutes, which again is backed by experience and knowledge. Most people seem to think that if a task takes a small amount of time, anyone can do it without any sort of prep. Recently, my boss has through another bout of trying to micromanage the hell out of my team. I don't get it. Setting up teams in OneDrive is extremely easy. How come IT people don't know how to do it?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.